Planning a trip can be super overwhelming for a lot of people, especially if you have a full-time job where you've worked all day designing products, meeting with engineers, or researching and brainstorming new ideas. The last thing you want to do when you get home is brainstorming for your next trip. There is so much to consider, whether it's where to go, eat, stay, or how to get there. But luckily, everyone has that one friend out there, that one friend who thrives off of organizing trips and makes it easier for everyone. Hi, I'm that friend. So today I'm going to show you my step-by-step process on exactly what I do before I travel somewhere and what I do to maximize out of the limited amount of time I have off of work to find the best hotels, the best destinations, and more. Okay, are you ready? Let's get into it. First thing on the list is you have to choose a destination. So your destination can be anything, but you kind of have to figure out exactly what you want to do. If you'd rather have a trip that's full of adventure or a trip where you're relaxing. I personally love adventure and a little bit of a mix of both. So I typically always lean towards somewhere tropical with beautiful landscapes, but everyone's different. And so it really depends on what you want to do. And it's also important to think about the time that you want to go. So whether you want to go somewhere in the winter, summer, spring, choosing a destination is very dependent on like when you want to travel. So for example, I love Asia. And so I would love to travel to Asia, but if you travel during the summertime in Asia, I hear it's super hot and it's just miserable. So probably do that for a winter thing. And obviously it's important to consider whether you want to go somewhere that's local or international, because with that, you can kind of time out your work schedule, how much time you have off. If it's something that's kind of short, you'd probably want to choose a place that's more local, that's easier to get to, so you're not wasting so much time on the plane. But if you have like a lot of time to spare to take vacation, now I think I'm actually more on like a flexible time off, so I don't have these accrued paid time off. But previously at my company, when we did have paid time off, then I had to save up my vacation days. I'd have to be really, really conscious of like which place I want to go to so that I can maximize all of my PTO days throughout the year for it. So usually after I choose the destination, I choose a duration of how long I want to stay. This is a big part of it. It's the research, and the research is what takes so long. I take so long researching everything, but I'm a big believer of if you take and you put in the time to research things, then you don't have to do that later on when you're there, because you can really just maximize your time. You already know where you want to go. You want to see all the places that you've heard about, and you're not kind of wasting time on the spot looking at where you should go next and wasting time trying to figure out what to do on the day of. So that's why I put so much of a priority on research. I'm currently planning a trip with my family right now to go to Paris, and I'm so excited because it's their first time going there ever. We feel like they're getting older, and you know, they've done so much for us in the past, like pay for our entire college tuition, and we thought that the nicest thing, the biggest gift that we can give them is give back a little bit, and why not take them to one of the places that they've always wanted to travel most, which is Paris. So what I've been researching is best hotels in Paris, best places to eat in Paris, best activities to do in Paris. And so I'll look up a bunch of different blogs. I love looking at different travel blogs to see the pictures, their experiences, and see if there's like a common pattern in each of these blogs. If there's a certain spot that's like really popular, that looks really, really interesting, then I'll definitely put that down and I'll jot it down. And I'll go through like 10 different blogs sometimes just to kind of read up all of these different things. And another thing that I'll do is I'll go on TikTok. TikTok is huge for me. I love using it to find new places, new restaurants to eat at. There's a bunch, and I love that it's like short form videos that you can get things out of it really, really fast. And some of the videos aren't filtered, so it's really, really great to see. I also look at Instagram. I do love aesthetics. So I like being able to look at TikTok to see like, okay, what are these places? And then I'll kind of cross-reference Instagram to see what are the pictures and the cinematic photographs I can potentially get from this place. I'll also use Expedia. I love Expedia because I typically use it to find hotels and flights, but I love just like the UI of it. It's really easy for me to sift through different hotels and be able to look at the pictures, look at all the different rates and like how much it costs. So I'll use Expedia mainly to look for hotels and flight deals. I'll also look at Google Flights to find flights as well. Again, TikTok, Instagram, Expedia, and Google search and travel blogs. Okay, the next thing before each trip is I create an Excel sheet. I love Excel, and my sister does too, but typically we always split up the work between the both of us. And so I'll usually start an Excel sheet and I'll name it like Paris 2024. And I'll first start off with a sheet that says brainstormings. I'll just, write it down and just make a list on Excel of like all these different places. And sometimes I'll put a little description next to it that says, this is a really beautiful location or Michelin star restaurant. It's kind of like a brain dump of all the ideas that I have. Next is I'll also have a sheet that's called hotels. So I talked about Expedia and I talked about how I look at a whole bunch of different hotels. I've got probably a bajillion tabs open at this point, and I will just copy and paste that link into the Excel, and then I will write down how many queen beds there are, what's the refundable policy, is it non-refundable, is it refundable, how far of a destination it is in like terms of driving or walking distance to the main attractions. And then I'll also have something for rating. So what I do is I have this little extra column on the side where I have these golden stars that I put, and I'll usually put like 1 or 2 or 3 stars to kind of rate the hotels to each other on what I liked most. And then I'll share it with my friends or my family. We kind of narrow down the hotels from there, and that's usually how I pick my hotel of choice. Okay, now that you've, wrote down everything, you've researched, you've written down all your activities and the things that you voted on an Excel sheet, what's next is mapping everything out. I will put every single location onto Google Maps, and I'll just write down all the different places I want to go to, and then I can kind of see from there where all the pinned locations are and how far they are from each other. And I will kind of break it up by days and like sections, because I want to make sure that when I'm traveling it's efficient and you're not going to one place to another that's all the way across the city that's going to take us forever, because all that travel time is going to add up and then you'll lose and waste time. So I like to map it out beforehand, and I'll see if there's a bunch of cool things to do in one area. Then I will try to bundle that into one day. But then I usually try to have some time where it's like a buffer time or a free day, because I want to make sure that I have time to also relax, or if there's a place that was too rushed that I didn't get to go to on one of the days, because when you're traveling, there's always bound for something to happen or something last minute to come up that's out of your plan. And now after that, you share a beautiful itinerary. So usually after I plan everything out, I will always make a beautiful itinerary to share it with people. I think that's just the designer in me. I can't help but like make aesthetic PowerPoints or travel itineraries for people, because it just makes me happy. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So I notice that every time I make a travel itinerary, it's really important to be able to look at it, because I can keep track of like the dates, what we're doing every day. And when I share it to my friends or my family, it gets them super excited and super pumped too. And that always gives me like this sense of joy in my heart that like people are excited. And I feel like that's always like, the cherry on top of everything. That's basically what I do every single time I plan a trip. This is my formula. This is my method that I always do. And if you're actually wanting to see exactly what I do, I will have itineraries that I sell on Etsy. So I'll link it in my YouTube video below, and you can kind of take a look at it. You can customize it yourself if you want to. And if you're interested in like the Excel sheet that we create, let me know as well. Maybe I'll also release that. Thanks for following along, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.